All right, and we're live for the E3D ToolChanger unboxing video. Gonna give it a minute here for some people to trickle into the channel, and then I'll get going. Move some stuff around here to make some room. Hey, Nate. All right, so it looks like I'm live. I got like 4 or 5 people in. I'm gonna give it just a second here. So while I wait, by the way, I'm extremely cramped for space in here, so this might be a little interesting to unbox, but I'll make it work. While we wait, hey Flanders, while we wait, I just want to say an extra thank you to everyone that donated to help make purchasing this possible. It's well out of my price range if people hadn't donated. So huge thank you for everyone that did donate towards R&D. The absolute goal of my getting this tool changer is to port the components for the tool changing portion of it to the Railcore platform. E3D is aware of that and encourages it. So that's pretty awesome of them. Need to thank Phyllis Druder for helping me out, and Duet for helping me out too. So absolutely huge thanks to everyone that contributed. It didn't full cost. If you would like to donate towards the R&D of the tool changer for the Railcore, or just Railcore R&D in general, there are links to do so on Kraegar. That's KRAEGAR.com. If somebody wants to put that in the chat. So that thank you out of the way. I just got this giant box from E3D, and we have a handful of people in the chat. So I'm going to open it. I actually started to cut the tape already, and then realized, wait a second, I should live stream this. So I'm going to finish cutting the tape open here. And like I said earlier, I'm way cramped for space, so I'm going to be like in the way of the camera probably. This end is sealed pretty well. And I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat. That's the point. Hey, wait. The point of a live stream is to watch the chat and interact. I'm going to switch over to this side so you guys can see. Maybe me. Let's adjust my awesome Logitech camera. Does that work? I can't really get in the shot. This thing's a giant box, and I can't raise it up any. Is that a good view? Here. I'm a bit of a giant. If you don't know, I'm like 6'5", so all right. Crack that sucker open. And of course, I put my razor blade back over this way. Super safe method of doing this. Just a straight razor blade. E3D, read your documentation before printing. Good idea, E3D. I can see the videos cutting off my head, so that's perfect. All right. So it looks like there are 3 at least boxes in here. This is the first one. They don't seem labeled as to what they are, so we'll just open this first one here. And apologies for the video quality. I have a cheap Logitech webcam. I am not a professional YouTuber. Do not have professional grade equipment. I think this is a $20 Logitech webcam. So you get what you get. Looks well packed. Got lots of packaging here. Get all that out of the way. let's see. Got one little box here. That would be an SSR. So Omron 20 to 240 volt, 10 amp SSR. Pretty typical. Put it over there. If you guys have specific questions about any components, ask them as I go. And someone please, if you haven't already, can someone link this in the Railcore Facebook group? And probably on Twitter would be awesome. And just tag me in it on Twitter at Craigar. If you can, that would be excellent. So I'm cutting open a bundle of bubble wrap. Lots of bubble wrap in here. Cool. Thank you, Matthew. Also known as lizards on the IRC. If you guys don't know, we have a IRC chat ongoing on a regular basis. It's where a lot of the R&D conversation for the Railcore goes. If you ever want to join that, it's pound Railcore on IRC. So first one is my glass bed. 300 by 200 Oro. Pretty straightforward. Put that over there. Yes, it's a glass bed. How exciting. I'm guessing this then is the bed heater. This is E3D's fancy new high temp, indeed it is, bed heater. Big silicone pad on the back. Big heated. One thing I'll note, the Boro and the bed heater are extra. They are not included in the ToolChanger, so those were extra purchases. If you're looking at one and pricing them out, these are not included. Came with some standoffs with the back. Other than that, pretty standard bed. Has 4 holes right in each corner, one in each corner. Warning, it is your responsibility to ensure that your system complies with local regulations and is safe to operate. The system is adequately grounded. Your power socket uses a ground pin. The system is thermally insulated. And you carry out the electrical check as described in our documentation. Warning, warning, warning. Okay, awesome. So I got a bunch of little boxes here. First one is the wiring pack. Thanks, Steve. If I'm going too slow, too fast, let me know. If you have questions, ask them. I'm not gonna pull all of this out, but if you're curious, that's what a ToolChanger wiring pack looks like. Also some nuts and bolts. Nicely labeled little list of what's in the fasteners included in there. A pack of 100 zip ties, because every 3D printer is really held together by zip ties. And a list of the wiring pack contents also. So lots of nice wiring. It does have cable loom around it, pre-crimped ends that are all labeled nicely. Standard power inlet included. I have to check the rating on the switch and everything. Yeah, it's the 6 amp switch that we had on the Railcore. So that's one I'll ask E3D about. That's kind of interesting that they went with a 6 amp switch. It's a 10 amp plug, 10 amp rating on the plug, but a 6 amp switch. Should be fine with SSR in the bag, but and interesting. Set that one aside. Yes, Wade, there's a lot of building to do with this. This is a big build. I've seen some people doing it online, and there's a lot to it. Okay, so that's cool. Here is my coupler kit. This is the heart and soul of the ToolChanger. So this is a fun one. Yeah, so I'll have it done tonight. It'll be printing tonight for sure. I don't really want to open this package yet, but I'm going to anyway. I'll just be careful and not lose the contents. That is a very nicely machined aluminum plate. That is the ToolChanger head itself. So this will attach to our Y plate. This is my challenge, my primary challenge, is attaching this to the rail core Y plate. Happen to have one sitting here. Now, you'll notice, coincidentally, they're rather the same size. There's it's a little thicker than ours, but that'll be the challenge. So figuring out how to match these two together. The bowls do not line up because I did not have the measurements when I was designing ours, but they are a very similar size. So that's pretty cool. And there's a gear and a servo. High-tech HS70 MG high torque metal geared hobby servo. And you can run these right off the Duet. Having done RC cars at one point, that's a pretty beefy servo. If you're into RC cars, you'd be familiar with it. Certainly not enough servo to drive an XY axis or anything, but should be plenty for actuating the ToolChanger. So we'll set that aside. Actually, I'm going to put that here and open this one. This is the other half of our ToolChanger. This is the side everybody's seen some pictures of. The nice Y shape with the embedded rollers here. Hopefully that's nice and clear. No, John, that's a Metal Gear servo. It's a hobby grade Metal Gear servo, like you'd have it on an RC car, but the higher end ones. And here is the package, including that long piece of metal. There is the retaining pin for picking up the tools, and then some very nice metal it's a pulley, and a flanged bearing and a spring and some other odds and ends. So the machining on these is really nice. Very well made. So those two things, that's the bit that holds the servo. There's one side that holds the servo, one side that the ToolChanger actually attaches to the Y-shaped piece. So our challenge is going to be figuring out how to adapt those onto our metal plate and make that compatible. What I was saying was interesting earlier is I ordered 4 V6s or 4 V6 tool kits, which are the standard option, the only one they have right now for attaching to the ToolChanger. So that's what these boxes are. They call them TC Tool V6. Why I say it's interesting is it looks like they threw in a bonus. So that's pretty awesome. Thank you, E3D. Not sure if they intend to. Maybe Sanjay did. I don't know. They are fully supportive of me getting this working on the rail core. So I'm gonna go ahead and guess that that was a nice gesture on their part to help me get that going, which is pretty awesome. So it has a V6 kit with the threaded V6 block, standard V6 otherwise. Heater, thermistor. I've heard that the thermistors really don't fit, even though they include those. Then I'll need to switch to the PT100s. So I need to talk to Phyllis Gruder on that. I'll pop open one of these bags. And this is the bit that attaches to the frame to hold the tool to the frame, I believe, for picking up and dropping off. There's a couple of super thin metal shims and some standoffs here, and some bolts. So get that up there, but you can see the shims there. I'm not pulling those out. They're super thin. I don't want to risk bending them by taking them out of the bag and then misplacing them. And then the last part of that kit, this is the part I really wanted to see. So this is the tool holder itself. So it has those big ball bearings trapped in the aluminum. They are rigidly trapped in there. And the plate is press fit in. Not sure if they attached it somehow. There's a metal plate there for the locking bolt to go through. What I'll do, and yes, I got clearance for this live stream from E3D before I did it, for anybody wondering. So they know I'm showing you this. I'm not allowed to share the dimensions on anything, but I can show the parts. So these two lock together like that and self-center. So this would be on your Y carriage on the rail core, goes over, grabs the tool, holds it like that. Is that clear enough? Anybody have any questions before I keep moving on? Anything you want to see in more detail? That side. So here is the actual mount for the hot end. Threaded bit goes through that, and then that bolts onto the piece I was talking about earlier. Not quite sure how that all fits together yet because I haven't read that much of the documentation. Christmas and all. Merry Christmas, everybody. And then a little custom board, actually branded Duet 3D, so it looks like the Duet guys make this for them, with pins for or sockets for the heater, fans, thermistor. It's a nice little PCB with connectors on both sides. And then a plastic, not sure what that, not sure if it's machined, looks machined, plastic, well, probably PEEK, and a fan, little cage blower fan, I'm guessing for layer cooling. So that's the contents of the V6 boxes. I'm going to assume the other 4 are identical. Again, I know I ordered 4, not 5, so thank you E3D for the bonus. Intentional or not. That is box 1 empty. So that was the ToolChanger stuff. Let's find out what's in box number 2. Any questions on the previous contents before I move on? You guys are being quiet. Not like 19 people watching. That's the most I've ever had watch, I think. All right, so let's see what's in here. We got packing material, a big, solid piece of extrusion. After using 1515 for the rail core for a while, that is a big piece of it. Yeah, it's 2040. You guys all know what 2040 looks like. This is very nicely packed. So if you're not seeing it, I got to show this. Every piece is custom cut, fits directly around it, holds it all in place very nicely. The extrusion, a couple scratches here and there, a little bit of grease on it, but it's all really well packed. So this would be this other second piece of extrusion out. A pre-mounted Z-axis. So there you go. That is their single Z-axis. That is a very wide linear rail. Very beefy. With a very probably 10 millimeter thick plate, but this is all one chunk of aluminum. That's solid. So that's one big piece of aluminum all the way through there, holding their Z-axis. That's giant. So stepper has an integrated lead screw. There's no coupler. It's a straight lead screw, but it is a lead screw, not a ball screw. It is. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but that's a big chunk of aluminum right there, all the way down to the block is solid. Yep, it's cantilevered, so giant solid Z-axis. Pretty cool. More extrusion. And guess what? They have 4 extrusions. Who's shocked by that? And that is it for that box. I'm drowning in packaging, so I'm gonna put some of this back in here. Yeah, exactly. It's honest. Okay, so this is the bit. J. Steve White is waiting for, and it's a challenge to get out of here. So we're going to do that. I'm going to shift the camera. Now that you're all motion sick. Is that okay? Nice view of me. It is a lead screw, not ball screw. Oh, hard to align without. Okay. So I'm trying to fall. Okay. So this should be the actual top plate and XY and bottom plate. There was only one box. Everything came nicely packed, single box. I did notice, so they gave me 5 V6 tools, but only one ToolChanger head. So that's the bit I'm going to need to pick up at least one of for the rail core, or get them to send me. All this packing out of the way. Okay, hopefully this won't make you too motion sick, but here is the XY as it's packed, and the Z plate, obviously. So there it is. So hopefully that was clear, because I can't watch the screen and show it. So here's the Z carrier, big bent U-shaped piece of aluminum, bed carrier. Obviously matched to their heated bed. Set that aside. Let's see, we got a cable chain. Nothing fancy there. Set that aside. Big box of hardware, including a hard stopper rubber feet, a lot of T-nuts. Looks like mostly M5, some M, might be M8, some big hardware. Set that aside. There it is. That's the on leveling the bed. I know how that goes. I've seen people talking about it. So let me show you that process, and you guys can tell me how you think it compares to the rail core method. So on the rail core, I press a button and it levels, assuming my frame is built square. And if it's not, it levels pretty well, just not perfect. So this attaches here with 4 screws. So you have 4 screws here. To level the bed, there is some play in those screws in this plate. So it's pretty flat when you bolt it on. And to do the fine tuning, you loosen up the 4 bolts through here and adjust this to match that plate until it's level. And you measure from your XY stage down to the top of this surface using calipers. So that's how they do their Z bed leveling. Yep, entirely cantilevered. But solid. I mean, that's the most solid bed I've seen as far as how it's mounted. So the belts came pre-tensioned. They're belt clips. It routes around in a U shape, and they have a simple little clip that grabs the belt. I'm not showing it well. Simple little clip right here that grabs the belt so it wraps around. Two nice linear rails here. They're black, and I do not see Highwind markings on there. I know at one time they were talking to Highwind and THK and a couple others. Not sure what brand these are. And then this one is mounted upside down. So or actually I guess I was holding it upside down before, maybe. I don't know. No, that would have been the right side. So that's their ToolChanger head mounting point, is these 4 bolts here. So that's what we have to replicate, is those 4. There is no motor adjustment. There's no ability to tension the motor. There's no ability to move any of the pulleys in their slots. The belt links are static. So I believe all of the belt tensioning is done by loosening this bolt, pulling the end of the belt, and then tightening that bolt. The belts are the new 2GT belts that they were showing. The idlers are the new 2GT idlers, both smooth and tooth, that they were showing, or that they recently started selling. The carbon fiber plate is pretty darn thick. It's at least probably about a 1/4 inch thick carbon fiber spar, and bolt every other hole through the MG9 rail that they have there. So that's MG9. These are MG12, MGN12. Well, the nice part about having the idlers static is then your belt links are identical. So the tension here to the tension here is always identical, which means you can tune based on this tension. Where on, say, the rail core, if you get a couple teeth off on your belt, the tuning between the 2 sides of the belt will actually be a different frequency or a different tension to account for that. A giant single sheet of acrylic glass. I'm not sure if it's acrylic or polycarbonate. Opaque white. No, it's clear. Just has backing on it. With holes drilled for 4-steppers, Duet, Duex5, and a power supply, but it's only the WeHo power supply that they sell. So I've already been informed I'm going to have to drill for the mean well that I purchased. So nice big pre-cut sheet of acrylic. And the very last piece is the bottom plate. Which is a gigantic piece of aluminum. Not much to say about that. Big piece of aluminum with holes in it. It is a big piece of aluminum, though. Maybe 5 millimeters. Thinner than our idler plates by far, but I'm not allowed to give measurements, so I can't put calipers on it, but I can approximate. So that's it. Are there any parts anybody would like to see of this that you missed or have questions of? I can measure stuff. I can't tell you what the measurements are. Part of the NDA is I can't give exact measurements of anything, and I can't share the CAD files that they've shared with us. And they're doing that to keep people from starting to manufacture parts for it when things could change. They're just trying to prevent, 713 Maker from making a whole bunch of parts for it. And then find out, oh, we changed dimensions on something or changed a mounting point. No, Luke, you cannot. John, for the side panels, they are not included. They shared DXFs. I was going to cut them out of polycarb or HDPE, but there's an individual who's also in the beta that was able to cut them for less than I could buy the material for. So he's cut them and is shipping them to me for about half the price of what it cost me locally to buy the material. So waiting on those. Probably here tomorrow, I think. Any other questions? Any parts you want to see closer, more detail? So I haven't started reading the instructions. I do have this week off. So I will, I'm sure, start putting it together. Not as part of the live stream because I'd be horribly slow reading the instructions and trying to figure it out, and you guys would probably strangle me for how I do things. So I don't have one, Tim, sorry. Yeah, so you can see on their halo, actually, there are 4 gaps right here. This is where the tools mount on the back side of it. So this fits over this one. Don't want to scratch up anything. I'm going to pick up the camera here so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 where the tools go. I'm doing a horrible job of showing things because it's all mirror image. I'm not sure what this, oh, that's for the Z-axis, obviously. Yeah. And the printable volume, yeah, the extrusions are in a pile right back there. 2040 extrusion. All of the wiring is pre-terminated. No, they're standard linear rails. They're just black. The top spar that goes on their MG9 is a carbon fiber spar, though. But they're standard MG9 and MG12 linear rails. And then the one on the Z-axis, I'm not sure exactly what that is. It's really wide, but not very tall, so it's kind of an odd shape. Yeah, goalkeeper. The Voron's a fine design. I've been talking to those guys. They're, we have some differences in how we chose to design things. Obviously, E3D did things even differently than we did, and they did. Every 3D printer is a series of compromises. You, as you design, have to choose which compromises most suit your goals, and make those compromises. If your goals match Voron's closer than they matched our goals, then you should build a Voron. If your goals match ours, you should build ours. If they don't match either, roll your own. Maybe they match E3Ds and you can build this without a tool changer. Or a D-bot. You know, it just depends on what your goals are. So Nero, what is patented is having an electronics control box outside of a heated chamber. So the specific patent is having all your electronics in a control box with a heated chamber. We do not have a heated chamber, so we are not violating that patent as far as I understand. But lots of printers do have their steppers outside of and electronics outside of the build volume. Hey, the D-bots, for the $500 you can build one, there's nothing wrong with the D-bot. It's all about what your goals in printing are, and what your budget is. And yeah, Jeff, I probably shouldn't speculate too much because I've read the patent, but I'm not a patent person, so. Right, yeah, if you're Luke, then you made a bad choice. But otherwise, you got to build, you know, for your budget and your goals and what you want out of your printer. Yeah. I'm going to look at going to compare the two parts of the tool changer here to their y-axis. Or I guess in theirs it's x, and ours it would be y. So we have a plate that mounts this direction. So much packaging, which is good. So hopefully you guys can see that okay. So this plate will mount here and actually fits right over that, like that. And then this plate mounts on the back and fits over like that. Yeah, so the tool changer concept itself is a great example of building to your goals. So the tool changer is not a color blending solution. It's not even really about colors. It's about multiple tools. So you might have a V6, a volcano, a camera, and a laser. You might have a light cutting tool on one of these. You might have a V6 with PLA, a V6 with PC Plus, a V6 with some dissolvable support material. You know, it's not so much about the palette plus market. Sure, put a plasma torch on it, Luke. You do that on yours. Whatever you want on this is more flexible, where a palette is more about multicolor. What I see myself doing with this is more soluble support. I'd like a V6 with support, or really a volcano with support. I would put a volcano with soluble support on it, and put that stuff down fast. and then like a volcano with a big 1 millimeter nozzle and a V6 with a 0.4, you know, and have the ability to lay down a lot of material fast when I need to, and then switch to the smaller stuff for the detail. Yeah, exactly, Steve. So this is more, I don't know what I'll do with it yet. As far as what I want to put on it, I'm sure I'll find that over time. But this is more about that mixing different components that you can't do with a single hot end. Where palette 2 is about mixing colors and doing multicolor prints. The print area on this is a 200 by 300 bed. And I got to assume that you can reach the whole bed the way it's designed. One thing I will note, I should pull those off before I drop them and break them or dent them up. So this is, I wasn't clear, this is the part that holds the servo. So the servo bolts here and the pin pushes through. What I was going to say, I will note their belt pathing is very similar to ours. It's a dual planar Core XY, 2 belts, 2 separate planes that never cross. Very similar to the rail core. What's interesting, they put 1 belt above or directly along the MGN9 and 1 on the other side. So it balances the force a little differently than ours does. But it is a dual planar belt design. And yes, they have some extra idlers there. I'm trying to catch up with chat here. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you could do the tool changer. I think this is a pretty novel method because it doesn't restrict you to just hot ends. There are already people talking about putting cameras on there. The steppers. So let's get a stepper up close. Here's how they mount the stepper. Hopefully that's clear. So 4 long standoffs, a pulley, 2 idlers directly next to the stepper. It's kind of a convoluted little belt path there, but it works. I mean, they're just clearing their mounting points. So you can see there's 2 idlers here to clear the mounts, and then another idler down below. And so their belt paths are perfectly parallel. That's nice. No adjustment needed to get the belts parallel. So you might want to start the video from the beginning. I went through the entire unboxing, all the extrusions you can see laying in the background, the bottom panel there. This is just the XY motion system. The specific portion that I'll be adapting to the rail core is really these 2 plates and the tool pickup itself. This is a full printer. All the components to build a printer are sitting here. Things I had to purchase outside of E3D or chose to. I I have a Meanwell power supply. I have a little 5-volt Meanwell power supply. Gonna experiment with that. So you purchase this in segments from E3D. You buy the frame itself, including the XY stage. Then you buy the tool pickup portion along with the servo. Then you buy however many V6 tools you want. Right now they only offer the V6 tool, which is the part to hold the V6 and the V6 bundled together. And then you have to buy the bed and the glass. So it is a order individual parts type process. And then I have to thank Duet. They helped me out with a refurb Duet Wi-Fi, Phillistruder. Took advantage of one of their sales, got a Panel Do 5i and Do X5 during that sale. So I have the electronics I need, and extruders are not included with the V6. They're not included with ToolChanger. You have to bring your own extruder. Of course, they recommend Titan. I've had great experiences with these, so I went full Bondtech BMG extruders for mine. So I have 4 Bondtech BMGs from Phillistruder. Definitely support Phillistruder, support Duet. They've been extremely helpful. E3D is all in favor of getting this to work on the rail core. They've been very helpful. Yeah, support those companies. They're good. They're good companies for the 3D printing industry. Yeah. So it looks like I need to pick up one ToolChanger module itself at least, and possibly another V6 tool to get this ported over to the rail core. I'll put it on my original 250 that has the halo on it, is the plan. So my next step is to get this assembled and go through E3D's tool changing process, their macros and the Duet firmware, figure out how they align both in X, Y, and Z, how they do their tool offsets, all of that stuff. And once I've sorted that and am comfortable with how E3D implemented it, at that point I'll really start digging into how do I make this work on the rail core. I don't want to start today taking these parts and try forcing them on the rail core before I've ever seen them work on E3D's platform. I want to learn from what they did first, and that's the purpose of having bought the ToolChanger as a whole and not just the tool changing components. Sure, you can do a Zesty or similar on top. Direct Drive is coming to this. You do not have to do Bowden. Short term, that's the support, but they plan to support Direct Drive. They plan to support Zesty or oh, he's gonna kill me, but I just lost the name of the original. Anyway, yeah, they fully plan to support other methods of extrusion, but right now it is like I showed earlier, four steppers mounted on this panel. So you can see the stepper mounts are cut through there. Yeah, what else do you guys want to see on this? Any parts you want to see more detail? Jeff, Steve, Nate? Got 30 people out there. If anybody wants to see, or if there's any parts you didn't see that you'd like to see, I can show them. For those that missed it early, the bed was one of the first things I opened. It is the new E3D high temp bed. Clear some space and get to building. Here's the bed. For those that missed it earlier, it's the new 200 by 300 E3D high temp bed. I'm sure it's no surprise to anybody that all their new high temp stuff is totally geared around the ToolChanger. It's not a coincidence that they started doing this stuff at the same time. The problem with building is I don't even have the instructions pulled up yet. I need to link those onto my laptop. What I could do, if people really want to watch me build one of these, I will figure out a time. I will not build anything until then. I'll queue up the instructions and live stream. It'll probably have to be in several segments, but I could live stream the build. Like I said, I'm a very slow and methodical builder, so I don't know that you really want to watch me do that. But if you do, let me know in the comments here, and I can look at doing that. Nero, I don't see any location for mounting a thermal fuse. Well, maybe there's one hole right here that is a threaded hole. Maybe that's what that's for. I don't know. Kind of hard to see, but there's a single hole right there in the bed. That's the only point that could possibly be for something like that. And then, like I said, there's a matching piece of boro that goes with the bed. I could not determine the manufacturer of their linear rails. I was trying to look at that earlier. I don't see any branding on the side or on the face of the rail itself. So I don't know who made those rails. Flip this one over and make sure. I don't see anything on the MGN9 rail either. No idea. Let's check the Z-axis. For anybody that missed it, this is their Z-axis. Stepper with an integrated ball screw, some big chunks of aluminum. And that is clearly a Highwind MGWR12H rail. That is a big rail. So the Z-axis is definitely Highwind. I couldn't tell you what the others are. The steppers are Motec motors, 0.9 degree NEMA 17s. So this is the entire printer other than side panels. That's the only component I'm missing, and those are not structural. So I can build it without side panels, but they are missing. I'm also missing some printed parts. I haven't printed the parts yet, so I got to get on that. So I would have to do that before I could start building anyway. There are a handful of printed parts that go with it. I'll use probably PC Plus for those, just to keep it all nice and high temp. Yeah, we've talked about thermal fuses for the rail core. We do the same Mike 6 plate with a Kinovo. We will probably come up with some method of supporting a thermal fuse at some point here. We've had a few ideas, we just haven't put it into motion yet. Obviously, something anybody can do on their own. So yeah, I have a lot of building to do. I have some printing to do first to get the parts printed for it. I'm going to start on that next, and then like I said, if there's enough interest, leave a comment, and I can look at doing. It'll have to be several live streams. I can't build it all at once, I don't think, but I could look at building it on the live stream as well. All right. If nobody has any other questions on the ToolChanger, I'll give you one last opportunity to ask if you want to see any parts again. The V6 tools, the ToolChanger plate itself, or anything about the frame or XY system. Let's find out. I haven't actually moved it. I would call that very smooth. A little bit of jitter right there. I think that was just feedback through the stepper, maybe. But yeah, there's one point there where it kind of settles in, but overall very smooth. That's probably the point at which the belt sat, frozen in FedEx storage facility for a few days. Yeah, it's smooth. It's all pre-tensioned. They sent it tensioned. You can see, there's some play in the two sides when you pull on one belt individually like this. You can see the near side moving, and the far side does not. So it has enough play to properly tension the core XY system. It's a nice looking design. The belt pathing is interesting. It definitely requires the plate and a lot of, they have a lot of custom machine standoffs, a lot of shoulder bolts involved here to make all that work. Definitely a higher level of custom machining than we had in the original days of the Railcore. All right. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up this live stream. Like I said, I'll consider doing a live stream of the build process itself. We'll see how that goes, but yeah, leave a comment in the chat here on this video if you'd like to see that, and I'll see what I can do. Thanks everybody for watching while I unbox this E3D ToolChanger. Thanks again to E3D for accepting me into the beta. Phyllis Ruder, Duet, E3D themselves, and a huge thanks again to everyone who did donate to the R&D for the Railcore that made this happen. So, thanks again, everybody.